Welcome back. Here we are, part two of our stress management series. I'm Mindy Turner with the New Mexico State University Cooperative Extension Service, your family and consumer science agent. So last time we looked at just kind of the basics, understanding what stress is and how some of those things can affect our body, how it can contribute to illness and unhealthiness just overall. This time, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the basic techniques that you can use and learn to help manage those stressors in your life. So we know every person is different, and what really upsets or bothers me may not be what upsets or bothers you. Stress comes in all shapes and sizes, and it's going to affect each person a little different. But ultimately, there are three very practical techniques that any of us can use to help manage our stress. And those are going to be relaxation, exercise, and a healthy diet. So let's start with that relaxation, or what we would think of as self-regulation. So these techniques are designed to counteract that overactivation of the fight or flight that we talked about in part one. So fight or flight response is going to increase your blood flow, your heart rate, your blood pressure, that breathing rate, and get your metabolism going. The goal of a relaxation response is going to be to decrease that heart rate and your blood pressure, keep your breathing even, help not have your metabolism be out of balance. So that blood flow, your heart rate, that blood pressure, all of those things are considered autonomic. That is involuntary. You can't always control those. So relaxation and that self-regulation technique is going to help you make that involuntary thing a voluntary response. So you can voluntarily start to control those functions and slow them down. That's where the term self-regulation comes from. So I'm going to give you three very specific self-regulation techniques that you can use in a variety of situations. Now, with any skill, there are things that have to be practiced, things that have to be learned. It's not just going to be this automatic thing. So you have to make time. You have to, when your stress is becoming full blown, it's got that chronic activation piece going along with it, and you know you're on the road to illness because you need to make some adjustments to stay well. These are some things that you can try, that you can use. So one of those is yoga, just the gentle stretching and strengthening exercises. It's done slowly. It's a moment to moment awareness of how you're breathing and those sensations. You can get apps for this. There's all kinds of websites. You can go down to your local gym, and they probably have some yoga classes available to help you with this so that you can learn. If you're not comfortable with that, like I said, there's apps, there's websites, there's television shows that come on a certain time of the day that will run you through yoga exercises. And you can even do these. There's several yoga exercises that can be chair exercises if you don't really have the strength or the stamina anymore physically to do all of those stretches. But so the stretches are good for you both physically and then that mental time to breathe and self-regulate your body and what's going on there. That's going to help you in managing your stress. Okay, the next one is progressive relaxation. So this is a series of exercises in which you're going to tense and relax your muscle groups. And so the ideal way to do it is start with your feet. And you think about it as you move up your body. We're going to do our feet, and then we're going to do our calves, and then we're going to do our thighs. And we're just going to keep working our way up so that we're tensing those muscles and then relaxing those muscles. So this helps you start to realize, oh, my muscles are tense. You'd be amazed how many people, oh, I'm not tense, I'm fine. And then you go to touch that muscle and it's just a big old knot, because that's how we live. And we're always holding on to that stress. And so we don't always realize that it's there. So it's important to understand, oh, no, really those muscles are tense, so that we can work to relax those and kind of normalize that relaxation piece, so that we understand tense versus relaxed. And it gives us that moment of focus and helps us self-regulate what our muscles are doing within that fight or flight response. So that progressive relaxation can be a very helpful tool. Okay, and then finally, meditation. Now, there was a string of things related to meditation for a long time. We're like, oh no, just that's that's just new age and kind of crazy, and we don't want to do that. But really all meditation is the process of stilling your mind and quieting your body, and just kind of have that bare attention to what's going on around you. Just focus on the present moment instead of worrying and stressing about what's coming or the past and what's happened, but just focus on where you are now and work on your breathing. In this, for the purpose of what we're talking about today, it doesn't mean contemplation or reflection or pondering something. We're not meditating on a specific issue. We are just using it as that self-regulation piece to focus on our breathing and being in the moment that we are in. That's going to help you, again, in just learning to control your fight or flight response and how you react to stress. Okay, so these next couple of things are the things we all know, and it's really easy to say, and it's so much harder to do because we get busy, we're stressed, we have all these things going on, and we just kind of forget to manage and take care of ourselves the best way we can. And maintaining our physical health is going to be a huge assistance in having positive mental health. So those are things that are going to be key to remember. So one of the things when we talk about the basic ways that we need to manage our stress, one of those is going to be exercise. It's that complement to your self-regulation strategies that works with your breathing and activity of the mind, just keeping it all going. So it's going to work with, it focuses on your body, and it helps relieve that muscle tension, and it's going to keep you from being so impulsive in what you're doing. It's going to keep you acting as opposed to reacting to what's going on around you. So maybe we had an argument at work, or we have a big assignment we have to do that's very stressful. And so we know our body is tensing. We're getting geared up for that fight or flight, and we don't have the opportunity to do either one. So instead, we stay where we are and we start to internalize all of that stress and tense up those muscles. And now we have all this unrelieved stress that's causing that buildup and tension in our muscles. And that's what leads, we learned in the first part of this series, to some of those illnesses, that chronic overactivation. So exercise is that beneficial thing that we can go and do to relieve that buildup of tension, and just doing that physical activity and getting rid of that unreleased fight or flight response, because it can be aerobic activity, like we can just go jogging or go for a brisk walk, or like we talked about with the yoga, the stretching is an important part for that. So understanding the exercise, and it's best always, we know if we have an exercise routine every day, that we have something we go out and do, or 3 to 4 times a week we're getting that exercise time. And we know we get busy, our schedules get crazy, we don't always know, but when we feel that stress building up, if we take that time to get some type of exercise, that's going to help us put things back in perspective and manage our stress. And again, easier said than done. A healthy diet. Bottom line, guys, when your body's out of balance, it's harder to manage the psychological stressors. Not eating a healthy, balanced diet creates a stressor on your body, on your organs, on your digestive system, everything that you're dealing with. So now your body is having trouble dealing with those physical deficiencies, and it's going to make it harder for you to deal with anything that's going on mentally or psychologically, because they do play, your diet and your nutrition play an important role in staying healthy. A healthy person is going to be more robust against and resilient to those stressors that you come across. So, like I said, a poor diet is going to compromise a constructive response to stress, because you've already created this internal stress by not eating and having what you're supposed to have. Your metabolism now is off just from the physical part. You have insufficient fuel. We need to eat to have fuel for our energy, but we need to eat the appropriate things so that we're not building up. I've got all this energy and then I crash because all I've had is caffeine and sugar and not the things that my body really needs. So thinking about those, how many stimulants am I actually taking in that's making this up and down thing happen? That then, because my physical response is like that, is contributing to how those stressors affect my mental health. So again, the easiest way to say it, an unhealthy diet creates an imbalance in the body. And when there's an imbalance in your body, the stress happens. So now we've got two different types of stress, the outside and the internal one, and that are causing this pull, and it's going to make you less resilient to dealing with that stress. So eating what we know we're supposed to be eating. And if you have trouble with that, you can reach out. There's a lot of classes and places you can go to learn how to have an appropriate healthy diet. And we do offer some nutrition classes and basic training here through the Cooperative Extension Service. So contact our office if you need help finding a way to learn how to eat better. This has been part 2 of our stress management series. I'm Mindy Turner with the Curry County Cooperative Extension Service. I appreciate you taking the time to join me today. For the final 2 parts of this series, we're going to look specifically at ag-related stressors on the farm and the ranch and about being a family caregiver. So I hope you'll check back in.